The first game of the doubleheader on Sunday featured Matthew Stafford and his new LA Rams traveling to Tampa Bay to take on Tom Brady and the former Super Bowl champs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers at home here, 2.5-point favorites, over under 48. We knew the Buccaneers came in with a slew of injuries. They had some injuries on their offensive line that we thought could be a problem against Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, and those guys. And I think at the end of the day, that ended up being the biggest problem. Rams come in here, win this game 30-27. They cover the 2.5-point dog spread, money line outright, over 48 hits. The Rams, like I mentioned, are now hosting an NFC Championship game at SoFi against the 49ers next week.
And then what happens if they win that game? They host another game.
And if they win that game, they get one bye week, and then the Super Bowl is literally at SoFi. Yeah. Did you guys hear? Did you guys hear what like Frank Gore and Joe Staley were doing? They were saying any Rams fans that are reselling those tickets, Joe Staley and Frank Gore will buy every single one of them because they want 49ers fans to be there, because there's been problems in SoFi right now with getting enough Rams fans there and opposing fans. So there's a chance that place, although home field for the Rams, could be 49er territory.
Freaking West Coast, man.
It's just wild. It's wild. Talk to me about this Rams-Bucks game.
Yeah, it was crazy because the Buccaneers were down 27-3. And if you watch football,
there's texts about, and I'm shocked. There's texts from like every single one of us saying this game was over. Every single one of us, guys that we typically are not. We wait till the fat lady sings. We're like, this game's over. And you know who was fucking playing? Tom Brady. And we all had the audacity to say this game's over.
It's wild. And he's done it in the Super Bowl 28-3, and he almost did it. He almost got
it. Honestly, it was the turnovers.
Well, for sure.
But yeah.
But he still had to score and capitalize on the turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the Rams came out, played lights out. Kudos to guys like Matthew Stafford. Kudos to like Tyler Higbee, who's been consistent this whole year.
I like him, man.
Yeah.
Underappreciated.
Absolutely. And, OBJ also, like, great addition. Von Miller. I mean, these are all guys that made a big impact on the game. Von Miller had a strip sack, forced a turnover for the Rams. And at the very, I'm just gonna fast forward to the very end of the game. Maybe you guys can talk about the Buccaneers, but when Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford make connections 2 plays in a row to get them in field goal range, and Matt Gay comes in, kicks that field goal. I mean, that was incredible to persevere and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, dude, this game was amazing because I was watching with my dad, and he's a newer fan, so he has no idea what's actually happening on the screen, and he's like, yeah, Tom Brady's getting destroyed, and then he goes to like take a bathroom break. He's like, oh, yeah, they're catching up, and he goes to make tea. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, yeah, and he just keeps coming back, and then at this point, we're supposed to go to someone's house to have dinner, and he just like he comes in, and he's like, okay, well, I guess you should never count out Tom Brady. I was like, yes, Dad.
You go.
You just learned some points today. You understand that you should never count out Tom Brady. Leveled up in his football knowledge. But yeah, so for me, it's a very clear-cut reason why the Rams won this game, and that's because Tom Brady, this handsome, prestigious man of the NFL, their pride and joy, their poster boy, never gets pressured, right? Like we've talked about his stats about how he's like pressured on 17% of his plays or something like that, something abnormally low, whereas Peyton Manning and those other guys that won many Super Bowls get pressured heavily. So this was the main factor. The Rams defense pressured Tom Brady 17 times, the most pressures Brady's faced in a game this season. So he wasn't ready for that. He was not ready to handle getting hit in the chin and all that kind of stuff, and that was done by Von Miller, who also played the best game in years. So per new Next Gen stats, Von Miller finished with a team-high 9 QB pressures. That's the most he's had in a game since 2018 Week 7. So he came out to play, and we saw it happen live in front of us. He was out there just destroying them. He was like just running over these dudes and taking advantage of the people that were injured and the newer guys. So they knew the formula, the same formula we mentioned on the podcast last week. You got to take advantage of these all-pro offensive linemen that were injured or out, and they did it. And they did it in a weird way that they have never done before. The Rams actually became this is the first time they've won a game after having 4 giveaways or more. So, and then they became the 4th team in NFL playoff history to lose 4 or more fumbles in a playoff game and still win the game. So very much they had the energy throughout the whole game, but those miscues by Akers and all those, even Kupp had that fumble. Right. They literally gave Tom Brady a chance to come back, but at the end, they were like, wait a second. We got Cooper Kupp. I'm not that great of a quarterback, but I can throw it deep. And he's like, made it happen. So they did what they had to do to win this game.
Yeah, Cam Akers, man, he gets 2 fumbles, right? One in the red zone, and then one late in fourth quarter. You're trying to run out the clock, and
that's what started the comeback. The first fumble by Cam Akers,
and it wasn't even just in the red zone. It was like the 2-yard line or the 1-yard line.
Why did Cam Akers all of a sudden just assume like total control of this backfield?
Yeah, so Chris Collins, or was that? I think it was Chris Collins. Whoever the announcer was, he was like, right after the first fumble, the second drive, Cam Akers was still there. And he's like, yeah, Sean McVay typically likes to bring in the other guy after this.
I like your Tim Collins voice right now.
Yeah. And then he was like, but looks like they have a lot of faith in him. Looks like they're going to use him for the rest of the game. That's really good for a young running back. It's going to build confidence, and now he's going to be taking this into the next game. And then what do you know? That same drive, he fumbled, or a couple drives later, he fumbles again. And then, everybody's eyes just went to like Chris Collins. What do you have to say now? He's like,
I just don't get it. Sony Michel was having a great year.
Yeah,
he was playing really well.
Yeah.
For him to literally just get 1 carry, and it's not like Akers actually had a really bad game.
Yeah, it was.
He averaged 2 yards a carry, and he got 24 carries.
It's the Bucs defense.
And he fumbled twice.
It's the Bucs defense. So like, that's another reason why you shouldn't like just take Akers to the ground here. That's your future. And they're like, oh, you came back 2 games and, had a pretty easy game last game. Let's just make you our workhorse coming out of an Achilles injury.
Did they not learn anything from Todd Gurley and what happens when you do that to running backs? But
these teams just all care about winning and money, not players' health. But yeah, Cooper Kupp, insane. I just watching that one route, the first catch of the 2 catches, not the deep one, but that like shimmy, dude. There's probably not a single defender in all of football that could have stopped that because it was just insane. I mean, people wonder why Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson tweeted out, why is Cooper Kupp so open every damn play? I mean, and that's exactly why, dude. His routes are insane. Absolutely insane. It doesn't matter if he's lining up inside, outside, in the backfield. He comes out and fumbles, very unorthodox. That was like the first Cam Akers fumble, and then the next possession, Cooper Kupp fumbled. Yeah. And so it was just leading to this Brady comeback, but then he comes back with 2 huge catches, and they get into field goal range and win. But, dude, yeah, this was just – it was really fun to see this become a football game because – I don't know. Everybody hates Brady or whatever just because he wins all the time and all this crap. But, like, I don't really care about that. Like, I know Brady's good, so I wanted a good football game. So knowing that Brady's out here, like, shit in the bed in a divisional round game, I was just like, man, this is not a good football game. So as much as the Rams kind of handed the Brady and the Bucs a comeback with, like, 3 fumbles back to back to back, it was still fun to see Brady be able to capitalize, turn this into a game. 27-27. And then, we shit on him a lot, but the Rams got the ball back with 42 seconds left. Matthew Stafford could have absolutely crumbled. We could have taken this into overtime, and then you know what happens in overtime. Bucs win the coin toss, and they win the game. So for Stafford to still have the poise to drive them down to the game-winning field goal, kudos to you, man. This is the biggest stage you've probably ever been on in your entire career, and at least for the time being, you've delivered. So good for the Rams. Again, they're hosting the 49ers. Huge game next week. The hugeness just never stops. It never stops huging. So let's kick it to the Sunday night game.